Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and I got another recap for Love Island Season 3, Episode 11 this time. So if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. If you like the video, smash the like button, and also feel free to drop a comment down below. So we got a lot to unpack tonight. So without further ado, let's jump into this video. Okay, so we had a recoupling in the last episode where we saw CASHAY really emotional and she ended up saving Korey. We had this whole thing with Florida because her decision between Jeremy and Korey. And then we also had two girls make a pact with each other to go after the man that they really want in the villa. So our couples that we have now, of course, is Olivia and Josh. We have Amy and Wes. We have, of course, Cinco and Trina. And then we have Florida and Jeremy. And then we, of course, have Korey and Cash because they pretty much saved each other. And then we have, of course, Will and Kira. Oh, and we can't forget about Olivia and Giovanni. So there's our couples. So, I mean, after everything was said and done, of course, Florida is emotional about the whole thing. She made her choice with regards to Jeremy, but she's still kind of sobbing about the whole thing, dealing with Korey and how upset he was. And she didn't like the fact that she hurt his feelings and, you know, all of this. And I'm like, girl, please make up your mind. Do you want Korey or don't you? Because she says she still have a connection with him, but she had to make a choice which she felt was better in this case by picking Jeremy. And the thing is, it's interesting. I was watching Amy's face while she was going back and forth about this. I don't know if that sit too well with Amy, not because she want him, it's because, of course, Florida looked kind of flaky with her decision. So she do sit down and have a conversation with Jeremy. And she's just gushing about how she felt about hurting Korey. And, oh my God, he's such a good guy. And I hate that I had to hurt him. It didn't faze Jeremy not one iota. He's just going along with the flow with the conversation. I mean, most guys would be like, okay, can we talk about something else? But he let her continue to talk and gush over that. And, you know, he was like, yeah, he is a good guy. I've been able to have conversation with him and he's really cool. So I mean, I don't see a future for these two just because of the fact that she's still kind of stuck on Korey and got some kind of feelings for him. And as for Jeremy, I just think he's just biding his time until the next girl coming to the villa. That's just my thoughts. We'll have to wait and see because the girls are up next of who is the new folks in the house. So, I mean, I don't see. And then we got a voting thing tonight as well. So who knows? They might get voted off if they don't get enough votes. So now Cash is having a conversation, just kind of checking in on Korey. They're now a couple. They're just friends. And, you know, they're joking around about how they're going to actually do their sleeping arrangements. And it's cool that they, you know, really can say, okay, you know what? Hey, we know what this is. It's nothing major. I know you thinking about Florida. And, you know, my heart is somewhere else. I'm thinking about Cinco. It is what it is. And they're keeping it light. They're just biding their time until either they get the people that they actually want or somebody else come into the villa. But, I mean, for them to sit back and they're just watching and talking about the people that they actually want and seeing how they move, it's pretty interesting. Guys, let me know what you think. Do you think that these two should go after, you know, what they want? I mean, I don't know, but we'll see because there's a lot more going on at the end of this. But, I mean, Jeremy is a little bit more assertive than Korey, so I don't know how that's going to work. So then we have a little conversation between Wes and Amy, and she's talking about all of the things that she would do for him, and he was like, oh, yeah, I like that. Oh, yeah, that sounds good. And pretty much what we saw later in the episode is her giving him another back massage. So while Florida is still sitting by herself thinking about Korey, Korey strolls on in and she stopped him so he can sit and have a chat. And, he's not as emotional as we saw yesterday in episode 10. And he was like, you know what, I'm all good. Hey, it didn't work out. And she's still trying to see if he's okay. Now, you can still tell within his face that he's still feeling some kind of way about this, but it wasn't as intense as it was in the other episodes where we kind of saw him isolating himself and, laying face down in his bed and, all of that. So, but, he just kept it like, you know what, hey, it is what it is. You got to do what makes you happy. And Florida is still, when he says that, it's kind of like him detaching or being indifferent. And it gets her to thinking. So I think that when he says those types of things, part of her is like, man, okay, well, maybe he's not going to just try to track and chase me down. He's not that type of dude. And, he's not going to chase anybody. And I know sometimes he was telling Cash he knows his worth. He don't have to do that. I know what I'm about. I know what I got. You're absolutely right, Korey. You don't have to chase somebody who truly is not 100 with you. And this girl ain't 100 with you. So, they hugged it out, And do I think Florida is probably going to try to eventually come around? Maybe, because Jeremy is going to do something. I mean, I don't know. I can't see into the future, but he has a track record with the other two girls that he talked to. So then we see both Josh and Shannon talking about how, oh my God, I can't believe that we're the only couple in the villa that has been a couple since day one. Yeah, it started off kind of rocky, but we'll see what's going to happen because there's going to be a couple bumps in the road to these two lovebirds tonight. But, in the middle of all of that, she gets a text message. And that text message is about bringing the islanders together to do a game called Mr. and Mrs. to see how much the couples know about each other. And I thought that was kind of cool. I mean, it keeps the show kind of interesting because we don't have a crazy amount of drama like some of the UK versions or anything. But I thought it was interesting. But this is where we see a lot of the couples kind of go and kind of get some instant notes or take some, some quick notes on, okay, well, tell me this. And what is your family name? And what is your last name? And, because they want to win this competition. So they're doing like a rush job with trying to, get to know each other really quickly. And I mean, for the most part, it's interesting to find out who actually won this particular competition. But yeah, pretty much they went off to their, prospective corners just to try to do a quick get to know you of each other. So, they can total up enough points. But let me know what you think about who you thought would have gotten it. I actually thought Kira and Will would have known each other the most, but we'll definitely get a big surprise on this one. So some of the questions that they had, like the first set of questions was pretty mild, like naming their family members and things like that. The questions kind of got a little friskier late as they got on in the challenge, where they were asking like, how many bodies have you had? And what is the one thing that you really like about your partner? And, things like that. There was another question that was very interesting. If you weren't in this coupling that you were in, who would you be with? And of course, it was very, very interesting on some of the things that, of course, say that Cash was picked twice by both Cinco and by Wes, that if they weren't in their coupling, that's who they would go for. Then we also had Will picking Olivia to be in a coupling with him. And that kind of raised some eyebrows because Olivia, of course, never had an iota of the fact that, Will would even think that, to have some form of a connection with her. And of course, Korey said Florida and, some of the most common ones as well. They also asked about who would be the main one in their coupling that would cheat. And that was hilarious. Of course, some people answered neither. So I think with CASHAY, we had Korey said that Cash would cheat first. And she was like, me? I thought that was hilarious. But I thought this was a pretty cool challenge. Now, it got kind of rocky on this question about what is the one thing that really you like about your partner. And of course, Korey said sex is the first thing that he thinks, and that pissed her off. I mean, yeah, Shannon was like, what? Are you serious right now? And yeah, she was not happy about that at all. And the thing is, he ended up drawing like stick figures of folks having sex. And she was like, no, he didn't. It was crazy. But as you probably see on these slides, because I kind of summarized everything, where we saw Wes and Cinco say that they would choose Cash. But the total score, which was the highest, went to both Cash and Korey. They were crowned as Mr. and Mrs. So they won that challenge. And they're not even in a romantic coupling, but they know more about each other than any of the actual couples in the villa. Go figure, you guys. So I don't know. Maybe they need to kind of see if their friendship could grow into something else. So Shannon decides that, she needs to kind of have a conversation about the whole pretty much, oh, so when you think of me, that's the only thing you think is sex? And she was like, I know that there's more to me than just that. And of course, Josh is like, of course there is. And he even prefaced that when he made that statement in the challenge. He said there's so many things to choose from, but the first thing that comes off the top of my mind was sex. Go figure. So in the meantime, while they're having that conversation, Cash and Olivia is having a conversation about how Cinco said her and how Will said that he would couple up with her, meaning Olivia. So they're all excited about this. And of course, we all know Cash still have feelings for Cinco. But this kind of was an eye-opener when it came to Will with Olivia. So, Cash is like, well, maybe that's something that you maybe need to explore, because I'm definitely open to trying to see how I can get that man back. And the thing is, she said, oh, I want him. And I'm like, okay, are you sure? And I mean, I thought that was interesting. And the fact that Olivia is like, oh yeah, I've always had a connection. I'm like, where? These folks that be saying I had a connection with these people that we never saw, and who knows, maybe something is not being filmed, is crazy. So part of that challenge, Trina also realized, she said that both Cinco and Cash was having eye contact. And she was wondering what's up with that, and he's like, ain't nothing there. Ain't no going back there. I'm right where I want to be. And I mean, my thing is, I think Cash needs to hear that. I would hate for her to go through this whole thing that they're plotting only for her to hit a brick wall with Cinco. And the question is, do she even want to revisit that? Because she been there once, and then the whole situation happened with Trina, and now she's pretty much haven't had a connection since. So, I mean, Trina says she didn't want to come off as the clingy girl, because she says she know that Cinco said that he doesn't like that type of woman. But she just kind of want to know where does he stand when it comes to Cash. So, of course, Shannon and Josh are still talking about what happened. She's rehashing over and over again, even though Josh is saying, I'm sorry. You know there's much more to our relationship than just sex. And she was like, but you said sex. That was the number one thing. That's the only thing that came off the top of your head. And it was irritating Josh, because at this point he's like, what am I supposed to do now? Because you keep bringing up the same thing. I'm telling you, it's more to you than just that. Because she was like, well, before we went into the hideaway, did you have anything you were interested in me before? And he was like, yeah, we had deep conversations. We had our connection. Yeah, but you said sex. And I'm like, Shannon, don't blow it. I mean, it's one thing that y'all got past the first huddle, but she is so stuck on that one statement in that game. It was a challenge. I don't really think that he sees her as as a sex object. It came up. And he also said these are things that she told him. So he brought up the fact of how well, she thought about sex and how much she liked it and things like that. So it was like, wait a minute, these are things that you telling me, but you got a problem with me saying it. And she couldn't figure it out. She called him. He acts like a 12-year-old in junior high. And I'm like, how? You're the one continue to go back and forth in circles with this when he's consistently telling you it wasn't that big of a deal. I got more. There's more to you in our coupling or our relationship than just sex. But she was so stuck on that in that moment, and he walked off. And she found that, we can't have an adult conversation. I mean, seriously. And so he decided to go talk to Korey, and pretty much Korey listened. He really didn't have too much to say, but basically venting his feelings and his thoughts pretty much of what he was trying to tell Shannon. Shannon wasn't listening. She was so focused on just that one statement. But, she needs to realize that this guy sees much more to her. I don't understand why she got stuck on that, especially when some things that she talked about with him was about sex anyway. So let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. I mean, he's trying, but Shannon don't make it easy, And so, of course, Cash is giving her advice, that sometimes men can be like that if you push too hard, they'll shut down. He needs to be able to talk and have a conversation. Yeah, that can happen, but he tried to talk to Shannon. Shannon didn't give you the whole story. Shannon gave you bits and pieces and didn't say exactly, what Josh said to her. That's the crazy thing. So, of course, Cash is only going to give advice on the information that's given. At the same time, she's thinking about Cinco, and just, I honestly think she needs to move on from that. I really do. I mean, she just got out of that triangle, and now she want to reinsert herself back into that triangle with those two. There could be a guy coming in the villa that could be the one that she really have a connection with. In the meantime, Josh comes over. I guess he didn't calm down. He comes over to kiss Shannon. She tried to get started again, and he was like, look, I'm just playing. We're good. I'm just playing with you. I come over here to give you a kiss, and, we going to leave that where it's at. We're good. And so she had ended up with a smile. In the meantime, we have Korey and Cash talking about their lost loves. And this is where, because I know that Operation Heart Attack is something that her and Olivia planned. Well, I guess with that being said, because Cash wants Cinco, we have, of course, Korey wanting Florida. And then now we have Olivia wanting Will. So now they all made a pact with each other, and they're talking about how, oh yeah, you got a connection, and yes, I can tell when he looks at you. And then of course there was a conversation. They were still asking questions with each other, and then Olivia comes over there talking about how Will was looking at her when she was talking, so that must mean something. I'm like, maybe he was just looking at you. Maybe that's it. And then she was talking about how Will looks like he's bored in that relationship with Kira. All we've been seeing them is giving each other kisses and caresses and smiling. Now I know the audience may be bored with them, but I don't think they're bored with each other. I think that's just something Olivia wants to see. But of course, between the three of them, they want to really put together this pact of Operation Heart Attack, where I guess they just gonna go for what they know, which means Corey's going after Florida. And then, of course, like I said, she gonna try to get in that whole the Cinco triangle and everything. And of course, Olivia with Will. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know, if you think all of that is worth it, if it's gonna blow up in their face or what. And then let me know who you voted for as the couple tonight if you have the Love Island app. I want to see what you guys' thoughts are. Even if you don't have the app, drop your comment on which couple that you chose to stay. So until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you soon.